We had some very interesting games in round four of the tournament. It's the second day of the tournament, a very important day. And before the fourth round, there were three players on three out of three. They were leading. After this round, there was only two people on four. And we are looking at one of the leaders' games, Dhruv. So Dhruv was white in this position. Here, Dhruv just develops all his pieces to perfect squares. Right now, he is up by a pawn. Black plays rook d8, bishop c4, threatening f7. The black king is still not castled. That becomes a problem. At least here, accidental genius, the Aga should have castled. But he plays bishop e6. Queen goes back, rook takes, rook takes. Another help for Dhruv because now the white rook is occupying the d file and black rook is no longer there. Here also he could have castled, but Agash keeps away castling for too long until it becomes too late. Even here there was castling possible for him, but he goes e4, knight d4, and now castling is not possible because of black takes, which was what happened. Rook takes back. He played b5. Even here, castling was actually possible. This position is basically one pawn down, but it's not that bad. You can still fight. The e4 pawn is hanging, by the way, so that we cannot do anything about. So yeah, it's kind of too late to castle. Here, black played b5 and fell into a nice little checkmate, queen c8. So Akash made two basic mistakes here. One was not castling for too long. The second was just going for all the exchanges possible in the board. By exchanging, he simply helped white pieces to get to good squares, and the game ended like this. So Dhruv was now leading along with Adrit. Let's see, not Adrit, along with Vidu. It should have been Adrit. This game is a very interesting game. Interesting not because of the quality of chess, interesting because of the kind of blunders the leader has been making. The leaders, Vidu and Adrit. Can you guess what move, without looking here, can you guess what move black plays here? White has just played bishop d5. Any normal player who has had good experience playing tournaments has learned enough would play a move like bishop b7 or queen d6, something normal. But then our guy Vidu takes the bishop, hanging a full queen. A rookie mistake, an elementary mistake. If there was an LKG for chess, this is what they would teach in LKG for chess. And of course, Adrit gets a queen. But from here, Adrit plays like he has just learned chess. Rook takes, pawn takes. He's up by a piece and a queen. I mean, a full queen basically. He plays h3, that's fine. e4, knight moves back, takes. Rook takes back. Queen comes out, rook goes back. Rook d1, that's a slightly passive move. He should have played rook e1. Knight d4, queen e4, bishop f5. This was a moment. This was a moment Adrit lost the leadership. He should have been first along with Dhruv if he had just converted this queen up position. But then Adrit played queen f4, allowing the nice fork on e2. And Vidu, true to style, of course, played it in 1 second. You can see the times. He played a little slower this round, but that's because he started late, I guess. Adrit was playing fast. So someone who's used to playing slow, if you start playing fast, then this is what happens. You play moves like queen f4. Queen f4 is not forced. You can go anywhere. You can go queen h4. You can go queen e3. You can go queen e5 even. Lot of squares available for the queen. He went to f4, and there goes the queen. And from here, Vidu just converts with a nice checkmate. Another blunder here. This position is still good for Adrit. He's up an exchange. But then instead of going to the corner, which should have been where he went to the center and fell prey to this nice little checkmate with the knight and bishop. You don't see this every day. But you can see the ingredients. The king in the center, passive rook, knight doing nothing. So these kind of things lead to such checkmates. And Adrit lost that game and is now down on the leaderboard. With that win, Vidu is leading along with Dhruv. Now let's look at Arush versus Sonic Believer, Niranjan. They had an interesting rook and game. Let's see what happened. Here, Arush is white and he's up by a pawn. So he went for queen exchange, but that's actually not a good decision because the pawns are doubled and you're allowing rook to enter the position. White also went in, Irish also went in, but then black is the one to take first, takes, rook c3, king f1, takes, one more pawn falls. And now, yeah, this was a slight mistake. Here it is perfectly equal. White should just come back with rook c3 and then get the king in. White is slightly better because of the active king and rook. But then he went rook c6, allowing rook b4. Now black is the one, Sonic Believer is the one who was a pawn up. But then he lost the game. Let's see what happened. King moves in. Yeah, what does his king move? Arish has to get the king up, but he's afraid of rook b2. Rook b2 is not a problem. Just rook c2. But yeah, he's down a pawn. So he goes king d1, rook b2. This is good from Sonic Believer. King comes in, and now rook g8. King f6 or g6, both would have been good. G6 would have been better because you don't need the king to babysit that pawn. King has better things to do here to help the pawn forward. He goes king f6, rook comes back, king g6. What is the king doing there? Okay, the pawns are starting to move down. Rook goes up, h5, king goes back. Now the king is completely stuck there. So this wouldn't have happened if black's pawns were set in the best way. This is not the best setup for these pawns. For pawns, the best setup is when one pawn defends everything. Like this pawn is here and this is here and this is here. That's a great setup. Then you only have to defend one pawn. Here, all these squares are weak. The king is stuck here. Rook comes in, rook comes in. So now white rook is more active. King comes. Oh, he takes. This is okay for black now. King up, king e3, f5, rook d3. Takes. Oh, he takes. That was the. It's still fine, right? He can block. Oh my god, he could have just blocked. What is he doing? See, what he's doing, I'll tell you. He's playing fast. That's what he's doing. So this is the common mistake that many people are making. Still making. I don't know why. The game quality is decreasing with every round. And people continue to play fast. Look at the times. 22 minutes at the end of the round. At the end of the game. They started with 20. Even with 10-second increment, you're not even taking that much time to think. So this is very unfortunate. I don't know what these participants are doing. I mean, if you put some thought to this, you would play rook f5. It's a normal move. You're up by 2 pawns, right? Black is up by 2 pawns. Playing a move like king h4 doesn't deserve. Then you don't deserve to win by playing such moves. First, at least you should have the mindset to think. Without that, how do you play chess? King takes. And that's it. White is basically winning up by a rook. The rook just picks up the pawns, and that's it. The pawn is gone. And now he just does the rook checkmate. This is so easy for someone of that level. The king is forced to the corner and checkmate. So this was another blunder by Niranjan. Let's come to this game. Here, black has played d5, rook d1. This was a very good game by Anand. Rook d1 is a nice move, just activating his piece, and that pawn is hanging. I think black has to go bishop e6 and defend the pawn. But he goes bishop f5, attacking the queen, which is fine. Queen a4, attacking back the knight. And when the knight moves, bishop takes pawn. The pawn falls. Now the problem is rook is hanging and f7 is hanging. Rook moves, but f7 hangs. The king is going to come under tremendous pressure now. King g7, rook takes queen. Yeah, actually it blunders the queen. Sorry, I forgot to say that. Bishop takes. He's saving the rook, but then he is losing the queen. And then we have a nice checkmate. He's aiming for this, a nice move, defending the bishop with the pawn. King goes back and then bishop g7. Bishop g7, bishop b2 and then takes. Rook comes in, another good move. Queen d4 check. And can you find the checkmate in one? And then finishes this beautiful game in style with knight h7. Now let's come to Asmi's game. Here, in this game, we have a rook trap by the king. Not something you see every day. Let's see what happened. Right now, Asmi is down by 2 pawns. She goes for rook e2, queen check, king comes in, rook f1. So the f2 pawn is now defended. So white is fine. This pawn is also defended by the queen. Asmi goes for queen d4, queen comes in, rook e8, rook e1, asking for an exchange of rooks. If you exchange rooks, black will probably win because takes, and then queen f2 will win the pawn. I mean, not win, black will at least make it equal because the queens will give enough play with the queen will give enough play for a repetition. So what white should do is just wait. If black takes, then king can take back and it's still fine. He goes at g3, which is fine. Queen e2, forcing the white rook to take. This is a very nice move by Asmi. Queen e4. not letting the trade on her terms, but on his terms. So this is Sampreet is black. Sorry, Sampreet is black. Asmi is white. Sorry. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Asmi was actually up by 2 points. My bad. My bad. So Asmi was up by 2 points, and Sampreet is the one who was forcing the exchange of rooks. Asmi says, if you want to exchange, exchange on my terms. Even if you get 1 point, I'm okay with it. King G8. Oh, he should have just taken. He should just take the free pawn. At least he'll be just a pawn down, which is kind of holdable. But he goes for this. This endgame is not good for black at all. It's winning for white. So this is winning for Asmi, and Asmi does in rook c1, pawn h5, king f1, and here comes the decisive mistake. The rook has no future on this rank, second rank. Even though it looks good on the second rank, there's no space. So that's something the rooks normally face every day. Even though it occupies a good rank, if there's no space to move around, it cannot stay there. Here, Sampreet has to go back. But then he did not see what was next. He played rook d2, allowing Asmi to do this beautiful king move, trapping the rook. The rook is gone. And after this, she just converted without any problems. This game, Bala versus Arshad, this was another tactical game. There wasn't any blunder as such, but it was a very interesting match. Here, as you can see, both sides have put their rook and queen on the e file. But who is going to benefit from it? Bishop a3 looks like a very good move because there is no good way to defend this rook, move the rook. But then, after knight d6, what Bala should have done was just exchange queens. Bala should have just exchanged queens and rooks and bishops. That would have been perfectly fine for Bala. He has a bishop and knight. It would be a good endgame. But then he decides to play bishop takes, queen takes. And here comes a problem. Now the rook is loose, not defended enough. Bishop is hanging as in not defended at all. And the queen's attacked. So these three things give black a winning tactical shot. If Bala has to keep the rook on the board, he has to be queen d2. That's what he does. But then comes knight c4, hitting the queen and the bishop. The queen is overloaded. The queen is defending the rook. It cannot defend the rook and defend the bishop. Both are not possible. And if you go rook, actually here he had rook takes. That's what Bala missed. He could have gone rook takes rook. Arshad cannot take the queen because of mate. Rook takes rook would have been the best move. It might be not winning. It would be equal, I guess. Like here, rook takes rook, knight takes queen, rook takes his mate. So after rook takes rook, he has to take back. And that's an equal position with slightly better pieces for white. And of course, yeah. So that's what happened. But then he went queen e1, giving up the bishop. So first, Arshad exchanges rooks and then takes the bishop for free. And then he went on to convert this position. Now, finally, this was a game between Arjun and Shreya. Arjun was white. Arjun had won an exchange in this position. He had a very nice move here. He missed it. He had a very good move. Look at the bishop and the queen. They're both on squares where they can be forked. And knight d5 would fork them. The point is the queen cannot stay here or here. There is no way for the queen to defend this bishop. The only two squares are these two. But then if you go to any of those squares, knight f6 comes. A discord attack on the queen, which wins the queen. So this knight d5 would have won him a piece, basically. After this, he'll have to go like queen somewhere. And then knight take bishop, free piece. Arjun did not see that, but then he played f4. Okay move. He's already up in exchange. So he converted without... Even here, there was knight d5, by the way. Even here, the queen has no squares to stay connected. Now the queen moved, queen e4. This was a very good move by Arjun. Because there was a threat of bishop takes or knight takes in this position. Even rook e1 would not defend it. This is the pin, right? Even rook e1, there is knight takes. This was all explained in the commentary by Atik. So queen e4, attacking the rook. And then Shreya was still stuck on this idea of playing knight e5. So she wanted to remove this knight so that knight e5 could come. But then she forgot that the rook is hanging. Arjun picked up the rook and went on to win the game. So what I see generally is in all the games, some of the games people are playing really well after thinking. But in some of the games, see here, Jayant is usually playing fast, but look at this. You end up with 21:51 on the clock. You're not playing chess. You're just playing bullet chess. And look at this. Arush at 25 minutes. Was it Arush? No. Sonic Believer. Sonic Billy had 25 minutes and Harush had 26 minutes at the end of the game. And you can see from the quality of the game how bad it was. Sonic Billy hung a rope for no reason. And then here Adrit played unusually fast. Vidhu was anyway playing fast. This time it was a little bit slower. But generally, this is the feeling I get. People are playing too fast. Even Drew here was fast. So playing fast is not an achievement. It just means you don't know how to play chess. You don't know how to play a tournament properly. Because chess is a game where you think. If you do not think, then what's the point of playing? So I hope the quality of games improve as the round progresses. Some of the games were good. Don't take me wrong. Some of the games were good, but some of them were absolutely horrible. It was like a what is a torture to watch these games. Like some of them, for example, where Sonic Billy hung a rook or such positions. Sadrit, after being a queen up, lost the game. That too, he was a leader, allowing Vidhu to be leader after playing such a game. So yeah, these things are bad, and the quality is not good. Lot of things for the players to improve. So two more rounds left. The standings are thus right now. There are two players on four. Let's see how the day ends up.